Hi everyone! As you can see, I changed my channel's name. I did it because one of you brought to my attention that the name The Devil's Pantry might sound evil to some of you. Initially, I called my channel like this because I thought this would ring a bell. Now I gave a little more thought and I realized that this is exactly what I would like to avoid, to make people think of Dracula when they hear the name Transylvania. Our culture, our lovely nature, our traditions relate to so much more than just a famous vampire. So I changed the name of this channel into Transylvania Delish. Please leave a comment on what you think about this new name. I would love to hear your opinion on this. Thank you. Today, I would like to present a traditional meat preserving technique which could be familiar to many of you. It's January, outside is wintry and cold. The snow reminded me of my childhood. As you probably know by now, I grew up during the darkest period of the communist dictatorship, when we had very limited access to basic ingredients. Getting sufficient meat was one of our major problems. People living in the countryside were luckier. They could have a small farm raising poultry and pigs, so they had their supply of meat. For people living in a city, life was harder. In my hometown, many people living in a flat apartment building, like my family did, raised a pig at a friend's house. When I was young, we didn't have a freezer, so preserving the meat was important. We used smoking for sausages, fat bacon, salt for preserving the meat, but we also use the technique of preserving in oil and fat. I have very good memories of this method. I remember the meat being ridiculously tasty. A story came to my mind from my young adulthood. As a student, I was very short on money. I rented a small house in the city center with a friend of mine. She was from Sacklerland, and her parents used to send her meat and sausages preserved in this way. At that time, this technique was getting out of fashion. Not many people used it anymore. I remember stealing the fat from the jar, thing that she couldn't notice. I wouldn't touch the meat nor the sausage, just the fat. But for me, this was a super lunch, having the delicious meaty lard spread on the slice of bread. Lard is something that we don't eat anymore, but in my childhood, we used to eat it like butter, spread on bread, served with spring onions, radishes, cucumbers, or tomatoes. And it was so good. During my holidays spent at my grandparents' house, I even had lard on bread sprinkled with sugar. I remember liking it. For this purpose, we used a simple lard, not this meaty, smoky type. Well, those were different times. My children probably wouldn't touch it. I might give it a try one day, though. I never tried preserving meat this way. I live in the era when we have freezers, not to mention that we can buy meat anytime we want. But as I grew older, I like to go back in time, bringing back the taste memories of my childhood and youth. So here I am, preserving meat and sausages in this old-fashioned way, for the first time in my life. In the next video, I'm going to show you how we ate these delicious pieces of meat or sausages. But this time, I present to you how my ancestors preserved meat during the winter. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it. This would mean a lot to me, giving me a little validation and to see that other people also find tradition important. Our traditions shaped us over the centuries and made us who we are today. So let's get into it.